About 1,000 years ago, Africans would come to America in thousands of high-tech boats. These Africans were not kings and queens. They were basically rulers of the world because they all had the power and best technology for that time. The east side of America was once connected to the west side of Africa millions of years ago. That made the land perfect for harvesting, fishing, and many other things. For the next 500 years, the Africans that came from Africa would rule the east coast of America, being that hurricanes are created in Africa and sent to America to destroy. The Africans never got trapped in a hurricane back at home. So for the next few hundred years, many families would die from hurricanes. So that left about 1,000 Africans from that era left. When the 1600s came, a battle would pop off in the middle of the night because the Europeans began to invade the land. It was hard for the Europeans to invade the piece of land because it sat at least 10 feet higher than the rest of the city. The little area was basically a small plateau. It wasn't nearly as big as the ones you see in this picture, but for its size and its height on a small peninsula like Charleston, it stood out like a sore thumb. Today, that little area that sits on that plateau is also known as the Waylyn, and it sits on the bottom half of the Dorchester Road. As the Europeans continued to invade, the Africans would shoot hundreds of golden-tipped bow arrows into the air. When the arrows come down, it would strike multiple European men. The battle would only last for a few weeks as more European ships pulled up to the Cooper River and the Ashley River. By the 1700s, the Europeans had already dismantled the Africans and Indians and had them all working as slaves. By the 1800s, the Europeans would have the slaves build up America and build train stations, farms, and neighborhoods. They would also have the slaves flatten out the plateau, the Waylyn neighborhood. They would have the Waylyn neighborhood flatten out. By 1930, 1940, 1950, every major city in America would have wholesome neighborhoods and wholesome ghettos. By 1970, a group of teens would be playing in the field on Ranger Drive when a four-door vehicle pulled up. The driver would go straight to the trunk, open it, grab a box, set it down in the street, then he would drive off. The young teens would go to the box and open it. They would discover that it was pure cocaine and heroin. The oldest of the teens was 16 years old, and since his dad and mom were on drugs bad, he knew a drug addict when he saw one. From then, the young boys would become dealers. By 1989, when the crack era was in full effect, the young boys would become young men and would be supplying Charleston throughout the early 90s. By 1996, the 4 young men would be sentenced to life for kingpin charges. After their life sentences, their families, their sons and daughters and wives would have to fend for themselves in the Waylyn neighborhood. Their sons and daughters would all grow up together and eventually start calling each other brothers, sisters, and cousins. From about 2006 to 2012, the Waylyn neighborhood would give Charleston a boost on the music scene with rappers like Big C the Dog and Shice Red.
Yeah, my nigga Big C right there, my little artist, you know what I'm saying? That's how we fucking rockin' in this vibe, my nigga. You know what I mean? Acting
Big C the Dog, don't mean the track. No, but slinging, snatching, naked, trapping, fuck the dog strap. Yeah, I ain't listen, nigga, that your best friend be talking about. Yeah, I'm the trapper, fiends, lurk, for ain't, I ain't noticed me. Who that? Big C, the G, R-E-A-T-D-A-N-E-O-B. No trigger, my nigga. I'm done for him, I swear it. I'm done for him, I swear it.
2013, a teenage Charleston rapper named Sam Lowe would be one of the first guys to bring like a Charleston drill rap to the scene.
And nines and summits, he ain't nothing too friendly. You gon' need some dependence, cause all my tones got extensions. You ain't never seen these burners, have ya out of commotion. Have you sneaking in the house, cause I be up in your bushes. You know, sign to in the tell me, plus I ready for action. Ain't nobody in my way, but if you skip then.
By 2014, Lil T, Sam's Low friend, would be killed. Lil T was the type of guy that all the women, all the females that love him, you see what I'm saying? Lil T was the type of guy, if you was disrespecting on Facebook or on social media, Lil T was going to get on your ass. You see what I'm saying? But Lil T deserves his own story. But R.I.P. Lil T, man. By 2018, Lil T cousin, Gualo Moore, and Braid One would start dropping some of the hardest trap drill music in the city.
You can help yourself into this action, no capping. You wanna play craft, I mean then black him, subtract him. All this shit I'm saying, they gon' whack him. And my killers, they won't whack him. I done did some shit inside these streets. I gotta keep that Glock up in my wrist. He playin', we gon' send him where he sleep. Got lows and we get him for the cheap.
Unexpected, nigga. We gon' keep on guessing, nigga. Draco, yeah, we scratching, nigga. Trap boom so hard, we blessing, nigga. I'm riding with my bust out now. I swear I'm in another time zone. Move the pack, then I switch the phone. Bella Diddy, hot, get it gone. Start with a half, flip it to the zone. They was hating on me, now nigga on. I don't work out, but a nigga strong. We smell, that's my cologne. Bad bitch stay on my phone. Had a one stay and I get it gone. Trap mode like a beatbox.
By 2020, Big C would be killed. R.I.P. That boy Big C. What's up, y'all, boy? This your boy Marlo, and this my intake on the story. Basically, 1,000 years ago, there was already blacks here. 400, 500 years before the Europeans took over the country. You see what I'm saying? And basically what the Waylyn neighborhood is, that the Waylyn sat higher than the rest of Charleston. You see what I'm saying? At least 10 feet, 12 feet. That's like 2 LeBron James if you stack them on top of each other. Like a little house. But the whole Waylyn sat higher than the rest of Charleston. So when the Africans settled there and when the Europeans tried to attack them, they would go in for a battle for a few weeks. They would hold that area down like some real soldiers. You see what I'm saying? So basically, that mentality, the way of life, war, the violence, all that shit just trickled down to the generations. You see what I'm saying? Because if you think about the Waylyn today, that's basically still going on. They holding that shit down. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. They ain't letting nobody breach their walls. No breach of trust. Yeah. That's how them boys they still rocking like that 1,000 years later. You feel me? But I fuck with them niggas out that Waylyn, man. R.I.P. Lil T. R.I.P. Sam Low. R.I.P. Big C. R.I.P. Shea. And R.I.P. them other fallen Waylyn soldiers out there. That's your boy Marlo. Follow me on Instagram at Marlo_Industries. Follow me on Facebook at Marlo Block. I'm out.